Today we're cleaning the print bed, re-greasing the slippy bits, checking belt tension, unclogging our nozzle, and spoiler, we're replacing the whole nozzle and heating block. Because I traded my Cobra 3 Max without an ace for this Creality K1 Max, and it has issues that we're going to address while catching up on our maintenance. While not disclosed, the owner was eager to trade this, and the example video he provided was the first half of Benchy, which I was also able to print. Let's get started and see if this was worth the $300 trade. If you're in a 3D printing pinch, PCBWay can help you out. Upload your STL file and you can save a significant amount of money by ordering in large quantities. Or if you're prototyping, you can even order in quantities of just one. Select material, color, and much more like threaded inserts before beginning production in just a few days. Check out their other services like custom PCBs and CNC machining. Save $5 by using the link in my description below. Step 1 is to remove any loaded filament. May sound obvious, but you'd be feeling pretty silly trying to remove those PTFE tubes with white PLA still in them. You should already know how to do this, but if not, in the same menu where you can home the axes, there is a filament tab where you can then select Retract. I don't know why, but this is the first printer to push filament out before rolling it back. I don't know. Creality recommends before or after every print you make sure the chamber and bed are clean. But if you're like me and it's been a while, so let's hit it with a shop vac to get stubborn filament fragments, and now would also be a good time to check the grease areas like the Z-axis screws for more stuck filament bits. Also, hit anywhere you'd anticipate any kind of dust buildup. Now that we've stirred up the dust, let's take care of the bed. I have some warm water and a tiny amount of dish soap, and gently washing it like I'd be gentle with a seasoned cast iron pan. If you've been using glue or have stuck plastic bits, then you'll have to get more aggressive as necessary, but my bed just looks like it sat around unused for a few months. I'm going to step away and rinse and dry it before returning it to the heating plate. Every 300 hours, we have a bit more to do. And with the under extrusion we had in the intro, we'll want to make sure we don't have a clog. Preheat the nozzle to 250°C since that'll hit all but the most stubborn engineering filaments, and remove the PTFE tube above the extruder. Using an anti-clogging stick thing I have listed below, push any remaining filament in the nozzle out beneath it. While the nozzle is still hot, grab a nozzle cleaner and insert it from the bottom to help pull out anything still in there. Air filter life depends on what you've been printing, but if you've been doing a lot of ABS, it's probably a good idea to change this regularly. It seems to be held in by plastic tabs that you just push and bend the plastic to get it in and out. I think my belts were too loose actually. There are no specs listed on acceptable hertz when plucked, but you should have a good idea when the belt isn't too loose or too tight. With the Ducatis I work on, the timing belts have a range in hertz you need to measure, and I expected something objective to measure here with 3D printers, but haven't found one yet. To adjust these, look at the back top for 2 springs and screws on each side. Loosen the screws, and my springs expanded a few millimeters, tightening the belts. Tighten those screws back down, give your belts a pluck, and see if you feel a difference. If I've been helpful so far, please like the video and subscribe. It helps me out. Finally, every 500 hours, we should be lubricating the rails and Z-axis screws. These K-series printers don't have carbon rods, but just in case you see any on yours, do not lubricate the carbon rods. Both the X and Y axis, the ones with the extruder at the top for those of you spatially challenged, have 2 linear rods that need lubed. Move the print head to a corner, apply the grease in the middle like Creality recommends, then move the print head to the other corner and repeat. The manual states that liquid lubricants are not to be used, likely because the chance of them dripping onto the belts, which would be a huge issue. So be careful with your grease. For the Z-axis, there are 3 linear rods and screws that need lube. Move the bed to one end, either the top or bottom. Apply the grease in the middle, and move the bed to the other end, and repeat by greasing in the middle again. If there are excessive globs, then you can wipe the excess off, but make sure you're leaving a little bit. After any maintenance, you'll want to run the self-check in the settings menu, and you're all up to date. I'm hoping I don't have to fiddle with flow rates in the extruder, so we're going to replace the nozzle, in case there's something stubborn in there. This specific nozzle is not removable because the previous owner rounded the bottom of it where you use a socket, meaning this nozzle is never leaving its block. So we're replacing the entire block. It's a $30 part, which doesn't hurt too much, but if this is what it takes, then I still got a good deal. First, on the K1 Max, we need to remove the LiDAR sensor, but I heard the other K1 printers you don't have to do this. Then we'll follow up by removing its bracket too. The front cover is held on by 2 screws near the bottom, one of which was under the LiDAR bracket, hence why we needed that removed. Then you'll just lift it up and away. Once the front cover is removed, we need to remove the 2 PCBs underneath. There are 3 screws, and remember, the bottom one is black. The PCBs are spaced apart because underneath this is also a small fan that needs air. The fan is blowing onto the heating block underneath, and remember, 99% of fans blow towards the side with the braces across the middle. The connection at the bottom needs to be removed, and just pull them out. I should have removed the top connections too for a better camera angle, but I saw some glue on there, and since you don't have to remove it, I didn't either. The actual heating block is held in by 4 screws. 2 you see as soon as you lift the PCB out of the way, and then 1 on each side. It's certainly going nowhere, which is a good thing when you can print as thin as 1/10 of a millimeter, I guess. Once released, just pull it down and it should come out with a little effort. You'll reverse the process to reinstall it, and again, remember the grill of the fan is pointed towards the heating block and the bottom screw of the PCBs is black. We will have to calibrate flow rate because this didn't actually fix my issue, so hold on a minute while we get this back together. Like I said, this didn't actually fix my under extrusion issue, although at least my nozzle is accessible instead of rounded off, so that's a plus. When researching how to find a permanent flow setting, I stumbled upon Creality's flow calibration, which really helped, so I'm going to share it here too. In version 7.0 anyway, there is a down arrow next to File, then Calibration, and then first we're going to use flow rate past 1. This will print with different flow rates in increments of 5, so from -20 to +20. Once complete, you'll choose which one looks the best, and if you can't decide between the two, go for the one that's slightly more extrusion. This is because you'll remember your number, like 5 for me, and this time we're going to select flow rate past 2, and you'll be asked what your number is. Again, mine was 5. So when I clicked 5, then we're going to get objects starting at 0, incrementing down by 1. Print this and choose your favorite. In my example, it was 5 for pass 1, -2 for pass 2, meaning 5 minus 2 is 3, or my flow rate for PLA now is 1.03. You'll have to set this for your filament, but at least the profile stays in the slicer. So not the permanent fix I was hoping for. Overall, I think I did pretty good in this trade, but this printer will be one of my first to get sold as I upgrade a print farm I'm working on. However, it's now good to start working until I sell it. And while I get this set back up, I've updated my printer comparison chart with all of its information, so have a look.